Can you sort of reflect it all, the crowd, the way this team's developed from day one when you got here to now?
Yeah, a lot of positives that um, we'll take overall from the regular season. You know, um, when I sat here before you guys way back in November, we talked about this year being a year of discovery and growth, and those two things held true for us. As you pointed out, from the fan base, from game one against Hofstra to where we are today, the community really galvanized around this team. They really grew to love the effort and the hustle and the grit and the determination that we played with, understanding that we had a lot of odds stacked against us from day one. With our low numbers, to new people and new staff, we had a lot of odds stacked against us. And one of the things that I loved about this team over the course of the season is they fought and they grew and they developed and they grew some more. And we had some setbacks and things of that nature, but discovering who you are in trying times is one of the cool things about being a human, right? And so we had a really good human experience this year. Wasn't always a great sports experience in terms of wins and losses, but in terms of who we were and how we grew as people, it was a phenomenal year for us in that respect.
Sticking with the positives, it was senior day. I wanted to ask you the impact of Abby Streeter. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I tell you, Abby Streeter was the first player that I talked to as head coach of Rutgers women's basketball. She was the first person, honestly, that I talked to outside of my family. Right before the press conference, she and I had a conversation about whether she would honor her commitment. And she said, "Coach, if you'll have me, I'm Rutgers through and through." And so to start your tenure with that kind of loyalty to the program means so much. She was always, all season long, she's the first person in the gym getting up shots, last person to leave getting up shots, and that kind of consistency in terms of effort and preparation. You just take your hats off to that, and it really kind of set the tone for what this program would be and who this team would be this year.
You spoke a lot about development. I wanted to know, what would you like to see out of Schmeichel, and what's her next step in her development?
Oh, there's a lot of things we're going to work on this offseason with Kayleen, and a lot of things that she's talked to me about. But I think one of the things that will be good for her is continuing to her reading the defense, her growth in that area, some skill stuff in terms of elevating her ball handling, elevating her ability to come off screens and catch and shoot, reading the defense, secondary and tertiary defenders, and finding her teammates quicker and sooner and easier. A lot of those things we'll be working on this off season. And again, those are things you really didn't have time to work on, given the timing of when we got hired and all that kind of stuff. But I'm excited to have a full off season, not just with Kayleen, but with the entire team. And now knowing, the areas that we want to work on specifically, as opposed to kind of learning who they are as players on game day. Now we know what areas we want to target, and see about getting better at those things.
How will this week look in terms of preparation, practice, travel, all that for the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. I think our game is Wednesday, so it's a quick turnaround. Again, for us, it was, the timing was pretty tough. This will be our fourth game in 10 days, I believe, on Wednesday. We played Monday, Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. So again, with 8 players, we got to take tomorrow off, and we'll kind of see who the matchup is with, and try to practice a little bit before we head out on Tuesday and get ready for a game on Wednesday.
Do you know for sure when you'll find out? Do you think that'll be later tonight? Do you think it'll be tomorrow when you find out?
I think officially it probably will be later tonight after all the games are played, but I think, if I'm not mistaken by my I think we're going to play on Wednesday, and it's just a matter of who we play on Wednesday that we have to wait and see how those matchups go.
Speaking of that, with the matchups, seems like the Big Ten even from the bottom all the way to the top, just some of the matchups and upsets. What does that say about the league, and does that make it kind of exciting heading into the Big Ten tournament?
Well, I definitely think it makes it exciting. I think we've seen. I think Wisconsin beat Michigan today. You see that anything can happen, especially conference tournament. You never know who's excited to play, who's ticked off by their seeding, or what bracket they're in, and all that kind of stuff. You try to get your kids fired up to play, but you never know what things they're bringing into it emotionally, coming off of the end of the regular season. So we'll figure out who we're matched up with and do our best to go out and try to win one game at a time. Win on Wednesday and stay alive to play again on Thursday.
What was that feeling like to be able to thank all the fans and just kind of look back like, wow, we did it. We've reached this point today?
Well, it's kind of funny because I think after the first game, I thanked the fans for coming out the first day and I'm just glad y'all here, right? Thank you for coming to see us play. And again, to see how the fan base and the community has really wrapped their arms around the program, the new players, the new coaches, it means a lot. And it's one of the reasons why I came here, because I knew that this community is one that will support women's basketball on a high level. And I fully anticipate next year this is going to be one of the hardest places to play once again in the Big Ten. That you come in here and that crowd today was unbelievable, and I wish we had given them a little bit more to cheer for. But the moments that they could, that place exploded, and it's just an honor to play and to coach in a community that just supports and wraps its arms around women's basketball at such a high level.
Losing just one player this year, I wanted to ask you, how big will recruiting and stuff be emphasized this offseason?
Oh, absolutely. It's a really important piece of what we do. We certainly recognize that we have some gaps, and we got to fill those gaps. We have to get a little bit deeper, and so we're going to definitely get out there. And the great thing is that we have an unbelievable assistant coaching staff, and they are phenomenal recruiters. So I really am confident that we're going to find the pieces that we need to bolster the roster and to help us make a jump in the Big Ten and be really competitive next year.